This is bothering the fuck out of me. I think next time, I definitely. Because I've been thinking about this. Lately, I've been able to actually see my facial hair a little bit more. For some reason, my eyes are just naturally blocking it out. And I don't know if these are growing just a little bit more sparse than usual. Because, like, realistically, I don't really shave my face that often. Mainly because I just dislike doing it. And it's just because I just don't really care to do the upkeep when it comes to certain amounts of things and a lot of other things. Same reason why my apartment looks like shit. My car looks like shit. But at least my car, I have a psychological reason for why. It's because you only steal from things that look nice and things that look like they have things in it. This looks like I sleep in my fucking car 24/7. Perfect. That means you ain't gonna break in my windows. What the fuck you want from this bitch? It looks messy, it looks filthy, it looks disgusting, it looks like a teenager owns this. Cool. That also means that 9 times out of 10 when I walk out areas, my car should not have any broken windows because you saw something that you wanted in it. What you saw is filth, disgusting. How dare somebody live like this? How could somebody do like this? I'm just like, great! Less headaches. Because the problem with presentation is when there's presentation, the presentation is so beautiful, some people just can't wait to have it. To the point where it's just, some people, God damn, she's pretty. Back to the point, Ethan. I didn't expect it to be a female driving that Charger. That's why I was so thrown the fuck up. When I saw that Charger, I think, okay, it's gonna be some black dude. That's, I don't know if she's Caucasian, but she might be Latino Mexican. She's Caucasian passing, but she probably ain't Caucasian. Either fucking way. Where was I going with this? So I figure, because like some people are willing to work hard to get the item, and some people work hard on breaking in to get that item for a heavy discount, which isn't really a heavy discount considering the fact that if you get caught doing things that you're not supposed to be doing, you can spend a lot of time in prison and or jail, or maybe juvenile, who knows. But either way, what I'm saying is there's two pathways to get that item. Both of them might be hard work, but at least when you get that item the more morally correct way and publicly correct way, if people find out that you have that item, they're just going to be amazed and be like, wow, how do I get this like you did? And you can tell the story honestly and earnestly. But to do it the other way, which is still going to be just as much hard work, now you gotta kind of hide it. Or if people ask you how you got this, now you gotta create a story and hope that nobody goes too deep in looking. And then, like, if you get caught, now that's 5 years in prison, 10 years in jail, 13, there's that. I don't really know. I just know that if you're willing to take the chance, you should also be willing to realize that there's a cost to every chance that you take. There's a price to pay to everything, I guess is what I'm getting at. It's just some prices that you're able to be aware of, and some prices you pay later, some prices you pay now, some you pay in energy, some you pay in efforts. Another female driving. I sound sexist as fuck for just be like, wow, females can. No, I'm just generally stupid. That's the easiest way I can get it. That's it. Because I'm not saying that females can't drive. It's just that I'm generally surprised that I'm seeing so many female drivers. Yeah, again, I still don't know where I'm going with my thoughts. I don't know. I used to sit and watch traffic here and there, and I used to try to keep tally of how many male drivers, how many female drivers, how many look older, how many look younger, and that has nothing to do with anything else. I just lost the train of thought that I was on originally before I was trying to defend myself of not being a sexist piece of shit. I'm just a piece of shit in general. Most of the times if I say something, see, this time is to do. Most of the times if I say something rude or offensive, it's more or less of lack of education compared to pure hate fueled anything. Because at the end of the day, once I wrap things around my head, I'm like, if this doesn't cause me any harm, this doesn't cause any of my kids harm, I'm not a parent. This doesn't like if it doesn't, like, I'm just really more or less thinking about damage. And the problem with it is some people think of, oh my god, how you being so you out in public in front of me. Stop it. I fucking hate it. I know you haven't touched me. I know you haven't even engaged with me. But oh my god, how dare you wear this outfit out here? How dare you speak so positive out here? How dare you speak so openly? Like, I know you haven't done anything to me, but oh my fucking god. And I'm just like, y'all just, I don't know. In my head, I'm thinking like y'all just got me that, like, this pick me energy. Like you're looking for a fight, or you're looking for attention, because if nobody's really out here trying to bother you, then why are you being bothered? That's just my thoughts and opinions. And I realize from as many times as people have always told me and consistently will tell me, you're weird, you're strange, something's off about you, something's different about you, something I've always wondered who drove that purple vehicle. I guess I'll find out now. My money's on a dude. because it looks like the car a dude would drive. Boots. I was right. Back to the point. Not the type of dude I thought, though. I don't know why I thought a Caucasian dude that did janitorial work is a brother. That's probably the last time you'll ever hear me say it like that. Or ever again. I don't know. Being black and identifying as black or doing the whole entire black culture and all this. Because, like, what I've come to realize is your skin is not your kin. Which I know I remember seeing that somewhere on social media. But that's besides the point. The skin, not your kin, but also realizing that there is always going to be differences that you can and can't see, and even though that there may or may not be similarities, I am foreign black, you are domestic black, that's why we don't act similarly. And then if I went to Haiti, I'm pretty sure I don't act like other Haitians do, because I'm also Haitian raised in America, so I would assume I act more like the ones that are Haitian raised in America, but I've yet wrong. I don't remember meeting one, because I was about to say I yet to have met one, but to be honest, I don't always ask people where they're from, and some people do and don't look like they're from somewhere else. Some people do and don't sound like they're from somewhere else. Some people act and don't act like they're from somewhere else. So therefore, and then learn that it is rude to ask questions like that, as well, if you don't know, feel free to ask. And then I'm tied in between, well, if I ask the question, they get offended, and I've come to learn, you can't ask these people questions. But if I ask a question, I'm educated. Wow, great! I could ask them whatever. Or it's just because that's one thing that I still, as a 28-year-old adult, don't realize what's an appropriate question and what's an inappropriate question. Because I still have that childlike wonder of I want to know just for the sake of knowing. Like it doesn't change anything, more or less. But I just want to know, like, how tall are you? Have you always been this tall? Do your parents get along? When they communicate, is it always yelling? Do they whisper? Did you see them fight physically, verbally? Like, I know that's potentially, is it invasive? It's personal, I guess, to some people, but if you were to ask those questions to me, did my parents fight? Well, technically speaking, I don't even know my biological parents, but the ones that I grew up with, yeah, they definitely did fight. Were they ever physical? To my memory, no, but the lady was physical towards Daniel, which isn't her husband, but one of the adoptive older brothers. I don't remember her being physical to her husband, but that doesn't necessarily mean it hasn't happened. For the fact that they were together 20 plus years before I even came into the picture. I don't know, from my experience, from what I've seen, she was toxic and volatile, but she was more verbal than physical. But I would still have rather taken physical over verbal, because at least I got scars to show you, see, they've been abusing me. But the psychological things that you cannot see, you're just questioning why I'm so nutty, but have you met the person that's been abusing me? Wait, they know how to act. Give them a couple more hours than the first initial 10 to 20 minutes. Because that's the problem. She was cool for a half an hour, give or take. And sometimes not even for half an hour. When you get to know somebody is when you get to know somebody. Some people are very good at acting, and they have a very good mask that doesn't tend to peel until X amount of time. But eventually, the actor has to go home. The face ends up cracking. There ends up being something that's just uncanny. And it's just like I feel like, because I know I've heard this said to me before, which I'm not gonna deny it. You're right. But there's like, I feel like what was it said? I know that dog's not normally leashed, but where's its owner? There's its owner. What's the fucking not uncanny, but it's the word I want to use right now. Something just seems off about you. And yes, I have heard that. And I don't really know how to answer. It's having just being like, I don't know, I'm weird. Sometimes it's positive, sometimes it's negative. It all depends on what side of the fence you stand on and how you try to treat me, essentially. I try to be your best friend, but you show me time and time again I'm better off just being this person that you don't know. I generally think when I interact with people, I try to love them first, and I come to realize in time that people won't always accept your love the way that you give it, as well as they won't always accept love from you, because somebody else can come through, love them like you're loving them, but because it's them loving them and not you loving them, they're going to accept it because, well, it's you. Nobody's going to accept anything from you. That's the point. Where was the point? I don't know. I think I just wanted to talk and figured, fuck it. Fuck it. I definitely use videos like these as like journaling processes. 'Cause the thing about me is I don't like sitting still. I don't like being still. I don't know what still means, but I don't want to be still. I think that comes deeply rooted in the females that I grew up around, and one of them, the lady of the house, the way she treated Daniel, kind of stayed sharp in my brain, as well as another lady. So how do I compare the? How do I make the connection? So somebody I used to consider really close friends with. I remember meeting him in middle school. We hung out a lot to the point where like dude basically stayed up my place more than his grandma's place because he was coming up from Detroit, staying with his grandma because his life situation was probably as crazy and as chaotic as mine, which is probably why we got along and kind of bonded because we both come from chaotic environments. And I just remember the time that I'd spend around his side of the family and his grandma and stuff like that. His grandma, to me, seemed like she was stuck in the mindset that if a man's in the house, the man has to be working and the man has to work a quote unquote manly job. And that's probably coming from her generation and learning that, like, I would say she changed progressively to an extent, but also was still stuck in the ways of somebody from that generation. Because, like, she was generous to a point, and in my opinion, she's someone nice to know. Wait, what? Because there's a certain way I want to phrase it. Because to know somebody and to know of somebody, she's somebody to know to be. It's nice to know of her, but it's a different story to know her. And I've gotten to see so many deeper views of people to come to realize I know I'm flawed and fucked up. I'm not gonna question that. I'm not gonna argue. I'll accept my flaws for as they are, but I'm not gonna accept the flaws that aren't mine. That's me, at least. It's hard to point the finger at others if they're not willing to point it at themselves. So I'm not the type to try to always point fingers at people. But when I say you're not a good person to be around, I generally mean I just won't spend time and energy around you. And I've come learn from the years, because it's not like I've only known her or them for only 2 3 years. This is a decade type of investigation. So I know it well enough to know that that's who they are and that's who they're going to be until the end of time. I could be wrong. I do believe people could change, but in all the years I've known them, I've not seen that. I've only seen them get more volatile towards each other. And then even to the people around them, that's when like, oh, I must be family because you're just as toxic to me as you are to your sister or your brother or your aunt or your uncle. Either flipping way. So what I was saying about that is the lady of the house always had Daniel cleaning and shit like that. And then her her thought process was a man's got to be like a manly man, got to be able to fix cars, got to be working a job that's like manual labor, stuff like that. Like being around those two people just kind of always made me feel a little bit smallish. And the worst part is the grandma kind of parred that into one of her daughters. I'm just like, toxic masculinity. Like I could see. I could see. But the crazy part is to hear the stories about them going and trying to seek help, but the help is not helpful. So it's just like, what's the point of seeking help if you don't use the information that you're given, or if the information's not helpful? I don't know which one it is. I don't know if it's they're not using it or if it's not helpful. I think it's a little bit both, to be honest. But who am I to say anything? I just know that having that always wired in my brain, having the people, it's just like, oh, you always got to be busy, you always got to be busy. And then also another reason why I like to stay consistently moving is also because it's just like the weird feelings a lady used to do. The more I learned, the more I realized how much I was damaged in ways I didn't even know I was damaged, because I didn't have titles, I didn't have words, I didn't have experience. I didn't know what it was until I went through it. And I was like, I still don't know what it was. And I learned about it. I'm like, oh. So that's why I act like this. That's why I always move away. Because I have a, it's not an aversion of being touched. I just don't like to be touched because, well, yeah, I was molested and I was raped, but like, those all happen in different time spans. And the molesting happened by the dude, but the consistent molesting from the lady is the one that really like makes me like, don't fucking touch me. And then also always being told to bite my anger even though I want to explode and hit people. And remember all the times, like that's 9 times out of 10 the reason why I'm so docile is because I still am stuck in the childhood mindset of when I used to lash out, I used to get yelled at and all that. And now I think of it as an adult and being the size I am, there's no being talked to. It's more like, all right, put these cuffs on, you're locked up for What about what the fuck they did to make me do this? Why don't you all ever question them? But I'm all, And I've gone through it for so long of just being misunderstood, all this, all that. I've just come to realize I'm going to say my piece. If not, I'm just not going to say my piece. But I'm going to say my piece and leave, or I'm just going to leave because there is no saying my piece because there's no peace. There is nowhere to put peace in this environment. This environment deserves to be destroyed, burned, dismantled. This environment should not be, but life is how life is. I knew it was a recording camera. Either way, I think I've learned to adapt, and I think I could be wrong yet again. I think I've learned to be able to still produce and interact in polite ways, regardless of the fact that I wasn't always taught the polite ways. I was always told to stop doing this, stop doing that, but never taught and told what the better thing was to do in replacement of the thing that I was doing. So therefore, I just fucking hated saying that, and some people love it and some people hate it. And some people just say, stop being you. Whatever it takes, be somebody else. And some people are like, don't ever stop being you. And I'm just like, either one of you, I don't think you've all met me, to be fully honest, because I've so many years in my younger years, don't do this, don't do that, blah, 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 blah. So it's just like, I've created this character, and at the end of the day, it's just like, it's exhausting, which is why I more or less like to be by myself and like to be around others, because I always see it as some form of entertainment, regardless if you're aware of it or not, because, I don't know, there's no cuz to it. It's just the whole entire act right. I wasn't taught how to act. I just learned how to act. And I don't even know if I learned how to act correctly. If you do things enough times around enough people, actually not even around enough people, if you do things enough times, eventually somebody will tell you you're doing it incorrectly. But who are you to tell me if I'm doing things correctly if I don't even emulate your life? I don't care for your existence. I don't really know you that well, but because of public implication and because you're older than me, because you're taller than me, because of XYZ or some preconceived thing that somebody else force-fed me, I have to trust in you because of the nobility of your position or XYZ, ABC, and now I'm in positions that I would never have been if I thought for myself. But every other time I try to think for myself, like, did I pay you to think for yourself? Actually, I'm not even on the clock right now, so no, you don't pay me to think, but also, you're not paying me right now. Either way, I try to at least be entertaining, even though I know I'm fucked up. I try not to be the fucked up where it's like, oh, I made you fucked up because I'm fucked up. It's, well, if we have time and you want to talk about it, we can. But most people say we could talk about things just to hold it over your head. And it's like, I'd rather just talk to myself. I do remember I used to have an ex, like, she used to get mad at me because she's like, you'd always say later, and you never talked about it. You never open up. And she's not wrong. I never opened up because it seemed like in our relationship, she was the one that could always get fiery and upset, and I'm not going to say irrational, even though that's a thought that I want to say, because it might have been rational for the situation that we're in. I just didn't always think it was that way, but it seemed like she was the only one allowed to be upset, which also reminded me of the lady at the house, and one of my longest and probably most volatile relationships, but I would say I'm a better person for it. I would say I've definitely learned a lot of things that's made me less tolerant for a lot of other things as well, so I figure dating forward is just going to be me trying to communicate with females that want to be communicated with in a certain way, as well as I want to be communicated with in a certain way. And for the fact that we are either unable to communicate and or comprehend what each other are saying to each other, it may not work, but eventually we'll be able to communicate and comprehend to the point where it will work. But I'm not putting all my eggs in one basket ever again, regardless of what title it might achieve to me, because I've already been called a womanizer. I'm like, how the fuck can I be a womanizer if I don't get women? Make that shit make sense. I'm just saying. Or at least let me rephrase it. I don't believe I get women, because I might get women compared to some other guys, but it's just like, I got her an accident. She wanted to be in my atmosphere. I didn't try to get her. She just wants to be here. It's not my fault. I didn't even give her a beer. She just threw that ass out, and now I'm trying to not even grab the rear. I'm just trying to see, that's my hands are up so you can see that they're here. I'm not trying to be a pervert. I'm just weird. Actually, no, I am a pervert. Only if you accept it. Outside of just being like the male standard pervert. I don't know how to explain that. Not all men, just some men, just most men. Not all men, but you know, like not all cops. I don't know where I'm going with any of this. I mainly only came out here for two reasons: speak the thoughts and put my card away. Cards away. I think all the thoughts are gone, and I don't really know what's all I've done right. But I know somebody will tell me the second I do wrong. But who the fuck are you to correct me? I'm just asking, no, generally. Who are you? What are you? Are you a human experiencing the universe, or are you the universe experiencing a human? Some of you, I feel like, are tortured souls, testing to see if I will be tempted by what? The anger, the lust, the greed. I have such little needs and wants. People barely believe, but I believe in everything like I'm still a child trapped in an adult's body. At least I don't have to apologize for my sexual lies. I just fix them. Just by reminding myself, everyone's a kid and we're not a pedophile, so why are we looking at her like that? Wow, don't you ever. Literally, if I'm driving down the road and shit like that, I'm trying to figure out if the female's an adult or a child. I'm just like, that's already enough information. If you gotta look and be like, I don't know if that's an adult or not. All right, the road's automatically more interesting. Oh shit, there's a car over there. Oh, there's a bird. 'Cause of course, I'm people watching. If I'm not paying attention to the world might slap me, and now I hit somebody that just crossed the street because I wasn't paying attention. I paid too close attention and not enough attention. That's the same car again. And a cigarette smoker. I don't give a fuck about her no more. It looked like a cigarette. It could be a fucking TAC type of thing. If that is the case, but I doubt it. Either way, even though I talk like I'd ever approach a female cold call, the only people I approach cold call is when I'm in uniform. Outside of that, I don't even do that. Like, I'm so good about ignoring people, you would think I don't care. And I don't, honestly. I really don't. But I want to try to figure out who I can and can't care about. But it's like, fuck it. Life's more peaceful. It's just me, myself, and I. Even though it's already too many people. Either way, adding her, whoever she may be, I hope she's as crazy in a good way as I am. Because I've already found her to be crazy in many bad ways that I don't want to enjoy, can't enjoy. I just want to explore, adore, and, well, maybe in the next life, not this one. Either way, how many more minutes do I have to blabber on before? Oh my god. It's greasy. Thought the grease got better smell to it. I just gotta remember not to get too close to my candles. Oh, let's take this inside with me. Yeah, I think I'm done with my thoughts. And until next time, I'll ramble on and on and on and on and on and on, and I won't try better. I'll just do it better. And remember, I will always be replaceable in companies, but never replaceable in the company of myself. As the only CEO to me, myself, and I need to make sure I don't do shady business practices with other entities, other bodies, those that are governed outside of forces that aren't them themselves and they. Because I do follow orders. But I don't remember telling myself to do this, and this makes no sense to me to do, especially if it's not for a paid job where somebody is telling me to, and it's not shoot, because you could never tell me to murk somebody, because, well, I need a good reason to. When I'm at work and my work doesn't involve harming people, just deceiving them, then maybe I'll do it. That's a heavy maybe, just because sure as the yes, maybe's probably a no, but either way, we'll figure out which way I'm leaning today. Until next time! Thank you for listening to my madness.